we left it together. The big band in the big swing city. Big band in the swing city. It's a big band in the big swing city. Oh, big band. Big band in the big city. It's the big band in the big swing city. Oh, big band in the big city. It's the big band in the big swing city. Big band, big stage, it's a big bang. Forget about all the fuss, get out from the gang. The band phenomenon was born with fleisure. Became the guy to jive where basically Miller without all the blowers swinging.
There's definitely dancing on YouTube. It's definitely working. Don't know what happened. So it wasn't working for some and then it was for others. Anyway, a very good evening to you all. I hope you've had a lovely, wonderful, wet Thursday. Wasn't it wet? We had a lovely thunderstorm here actually. It was lovely. I love a nice thunderstorm. I'm just disappointed that it wasn't raining like that and thundering when I was out for a run, because I love running in the rain. It was only drizzling this morning when I went out, but it would have been particularly lovely if it was pelting it down. I think I'm slightly out of focus. Having a bit of trouble. I've moved everything a bit closer because it's just me this evening, and it doesn't seem to like it very much. It doesn't like my face, clearly. So I'm going to zoom out. Then I'm going to zoom back in, and it might work. It might get me back in focus. Let's see. No, not really. So I've got a slight soft focus this evening. Hang on, if I get a bit closer, that's better, isn't it? There we go. What's wrong with my great big face at you on a Thursday night? For the results. For the results! So are we all excited to know how we got on the 13th week of our lockdown quiz? 13 weeks. 13 weeks. Yeah. Well, I thought it was relatively difficult. Clearly not for a number of you. And there's been some surprising, for me anyway, I thought, some surprising results tonight. Well, yesterday. So, good evening, Mother. Yeah, Diane House is watching you. Sounds sinister. It is pretty sinister. Whenever she looks at you, it's sinister. She's just got one of those sinister-looking faces, hasn't she? She's very scary looking. Yeah, I reckon she's a witch. Perhaps we should burn her. Burn her! So, good evening, everyone. So, good evening, Imina. I hope you've had a good day. I have had a relatively good day. I've been up here most of the day. Yeah, went out this morning and did a little bit of exercise. And then I've been in here all day. I did that little video that you saw earlier. I did some different things on that again as well. I did some sound editing on that one, because those videos, the sound was really not great at all. The cameras didn't pick up the sound very well, because I guess the way the acoustics worked in the room. So basically I had the tracks for the dancers. I had all of their songs. So I just merged the actual song onto the video and then blended in the sound from the audience as well, and it all worked quite well, I think. As good as it could do anyway. So, good evening, Better Latter Than Never, Tequila Mockingbird, good evening. Team Brighton, hello. Fine pair of shoulders, good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. So, shall we crack on? Should we get on with these results? Yeah, you know I'm rude, Diane, of course. Watcher Darren, good evening. Agatha Christie. So, round one was riddle me this, riddle me that, and it was a riddle, wasn't it? And I've just got to call up the marks as well, so I know who I'm talking about. How you got on? Yeah, honest. Well, considering that Kelly didn't get any right on this round at all, I mean, all of you pretty much put Kelly to shame. Yeah, which is harsh for her. It seems. That's taking me blooming comments away. Right. So riddle me this, riddle me that. Question one. To be honest, I don't really need the answers for this one because most of you got it. Good evening, Lee Sun lovers. So, what has a head, a tail, is brown and has no legs? It's a penny. Or a tuppence. But I was looking for a penny. I think only one or two of you said. You did say 1p or 2p anyway. You didn't actually say. Just one or the other. I'll let you have that. So it's a penny. Of course, heads or tails. It's brown. And hasn't got any legs, has it? Number two, the more you take away, the more I become. It's not footsteps. Someone did say footsteps. But it is a hole. So the more you take away, the bigger it becomes. I mean, it's sensible, really. It's just common sense. Common British thinking. Number three, what goes up when the rain comes down? Well, like today, if you were out in it and the rain was coming down, you'd want to put up your umbrella, wouldn't you? I think everybody got that one right. I can be cracked, I can be made, I can be told, I can be played. What am I? You are, of course, you're a joke. That's what you are. And this chair is really creaky. I might have to send down for the bloke in the overalls and the flat cap to bring up the normal chair that someone's been using to stand on because they've been decorating again today. You don't want to stand on these chairs because we had the cloth bit on them done. These are dining room. It's a dining room chair, and she doesn't want to stand on that because it was obviously nice. These are antique. I inherited these from a family member that sadly passed away, but they were just kind of rotting in his house. And so I've got those. These are wonderful. They're lovely chairs. Lovely. Number 5. What is so fragile that saying its name breaks it? It is silence. Let's leave you with that silence. It's about the only silence you're going to get this evening. Next. What can fill a room but takes up no space? Now, of course, it's not me because I take up a certain amount of space. But it's not atmosphere either. It is light. Light can fill a room but takes up no space. Number 7. What can run but never walks, has a mouth but never talks, has a head but never weeps, has a bed but never sleeps. It's quite poetic, really, isn't it? It's quite lovely. And it is a river. A river can run. It has a mouth, of course, has a head and a bed. A river. Number 8. What has many keys but can't even open a single door? It is, of course, a piano. And I think everyone got that one right as well. So yes, a piano can open many doors. Can't open any doors, can it? Not a very good idea. It can't really go upstairs with monkeys either. Not a good idea to get a couple of monkeys to take your piano up the stairs, is it? They're not on telly anymore. It's a shame. I used to like those adverts. And number 9, if you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you haven't got me. What am I? Not problems. Someone said problems. Because if you've got problems and you want to share them and then you share them with someone, you've still got the problem to a certain degree, haven't you? Because there's no guarantee that it's going to go away if you've shared it with someone. However, a secret. If you've got a secret, you generally want to share it with someone, don't you? But if you share it, it's no longer a secret. Let that be a lesson to you. And finally, number 10. What can travel all around the world without leaving its corner? Not the moon. The moon moves. It goes across the sky. So, not the moon. But a stamp. A stamp can travel all the way around the world without leaving its corner, which is peculiar. Hello. Say good evening, Ella. You going to bed? Yep. Mwah, love you lots. Good night, darling. You alright? What's the matter? She's not very happy tonight. I think she's been a bit bored. Bless her, because I've been in the office all day. Mummy's been decorating. So we did have a little bit of time together to play a game. But no, she's getting a bit bored, bless her. So that was number 10, and that was round 1. Should we have a little look at the scores? See how people got on with that one. So 1, 2... hang on, I'm looking at the wrong column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams got all of those questions right. 10 teams got all of them right. And there were how many teams? 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that chose that as their joker rounds. They got double. They got 20 points on that round. But there were a couple teams that didn't get maximum marks. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we only had 17 teams playing tonight. Last night. Yeah, so there was a couple of you that got 9 out of 10. You got just fell foul on one of them. But yeah. Not bad going though. Not bad going. So I'm just checking something. I'm just checking Steward's inquiry. A little momentary Steward's inquiry. Just checking my own mathematics there. Yeah. Okay, so should we move on to round 2? Shall we? Let's. So round 2 was the "that's not what I meant" round, when you say something in another language and you get into trouble. Now, I said something once. That's not the end of the story. I said a mouthful of sparkling water. When I was teaching in Russia, this is a long time ago, 2004, so 16 years ago, I had this bit of a habit of, I think it was the influence of watching too many Guy Ritchie films and mixing with too many people from London. And I used to call people the governor, or it was a word that I used a little bit, the governor. Yeah, but I suppose it was a bit of a fashion maybe then anyway. Maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, I was teaching this young couple, about 13 or 14. One of the girl could speak really good English. The boy she was dancing with spoke nothing. No English at all. So literally nothing. Didn't understand what I said. She used to translate all the time, which was sweet. We did something really well. They weren't amazing, but he improved and he did some really good stuff. And I called him the governor. And which he got very upset about, and I was perplexed, and at the end, and he was very upset actually, and he looked a little bit angry at times as well actually. And anyway, at the end of the lesson, I said to her, because she looked a little bit bemused as well when I said it. At the end of the lesson, I said, "What was wrong with him? Why didn't he?" I called him the governor. It was really good. He did really well. He said, "Well, in Russian, governor means little yes, little sugar honey iced tea." So unfortunately, I said that this little 14-year-old boy, maybe 13, who danced it really well, I called him a little... yeah, so that's not very nice, is it? Poor little fella. I don't think I ever taught him again. Number 1, what does the word bra mean in Swedish? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? Is it pants? It is good. It means good. Oh, for goodness sake. Hang on, everybody. I haven't set up the hotkeys on that particular one. So it's good. I've told you the answer. It's good. Because it is good. There you go. It's good. Excellent stuff. Good bra. In French, the word smoking means what? Is it mask, tuxedo, bandana, or old dress? Old dress, it is not. Some of you said old dress. And some of you said bandana. But it is, and some of you said mask, actually. So it's a bit of a mixed bag with that one. But it is a tuxedo, hence smoking jacket. People talk about a smoking jacket, don't they? It means tuxedo. Number 3. If you asked governor, by the way, so just to clarify, it's not governor, because otherwise I'd have used it in this little this round. Governor. So if anyone out there is Russian and listening to this, I do apologise. I'm not calling you that. I'm just recounting a story, governor. So it's very similar sounding, you see. Yes, so if you asked for water in Indonesia, what would you get a glass of? Would you get a glass of dirt, fire, air, or dreams? Now, I'd quite like a glass of dreams, but it's not dreams, it's not dirt, it's not fire, it is air. So if you ask for water in Indonesian, you get, well, it's air. So you wouldn't ask for water, would you? If you're wanting air. Well, you might do if you're suffocating a little bit and struggling to breathe, perhaps, but maybe not. I don't know. Don't say mist in Germany because it means BCT or Tia. I'm not going to say these words. I'm not going to say it because my mother's still watching. It is crap. I'm going to say that one. So mist in German, is crap. Next one was an Urdu word. In Urdu, bath has quite another meaning. Rain, sunshine, thunder or snow. It is snow. So if you hear some people talking in Urdu, mixed Urdu and English, and they're saying they're going to have a bath fight, or they're going to pick up some bath and throw it at you, don't get too concerned. It's only going to be snow. Don't worry. Number 6, they have a lovely way of describing their family in Russia. What does brats mean? Cousin, sister, brother or uncle. Now, they've got a completely different alphabet, remember? So just because it's got a B at the front doesn't mean it's going to start with a B, because their stuff's off the wall, bizarre. I mean, I've been there. Although governor, think of that, governor, completely different. But it does mean brother. It is brother. So some of you said the others, but it is brother. I was trying to fool you then slightly. Number 7, make sure you don't say fart in Denmark. You could get into trouble, as it means speed, steal, asphyxiate or poke. Oddly enough, no one said asphyxiate, which I thought was bizarre. Someone said poke, a couple have said steal, but it is speed. And they've got a similar word in German as well, I think, which is F-A-R-H-T, I think. So if you've travelled a fair bit in that area, or you've done some of the Germanic languages, then you would have probably known that it was speed. Or if you've been there and seen a photograph and you took a photograph of it with you holding your nose, hungry hawks, show-offs. Number 8, meanwhile, don't ask for tapas in Portugal, as you may well get a few of these for your trouble. Punches, kicks, slaps or pinches. Well, yeah, don't ask for tapas because you will get multiple slaps. Yeah, you get slapped in the face. When visiting Wales, don't bother with calling anyone a moron because it means carrot, mermaid, crown or ostrich. Oddly enough, it seems that so many of you are experts in the Welsh language, because I think almost all of you got this one right. It's carrot, but it also means moron. So it's a bit weird, isn't it? So moron is moron, but it's also carrot. I suppose it's context. What would you like for dinner? Moron? I suppose it's the way you would flex as well. If you feel the need to gift someone in Germany, be warned, as it means marry, abduct, squeeze or poison. Some of you said marry. No one said abduct, oddly enough, or squeeze actually. But it is poison. So don't poison anyone, please. We don't need that, do we? We don't want that. So, scores on the doors with that round. We had one team that chose that as their joker round, I think, which was Brecon Beacons. I think everyone else chose something else. Yeah, so no one got 10 out of 10 on that round. We did have 1 9 out of 10 from Team GKN and a couple of 8s. 1, 2, 3, 4 8s. The average there was about a 6. Yeah, 6 or so. Did have a 2 and a 3 as well. Yeah, but that wasn't quite so good that round. So, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? If you don't know these things, you're just going to guess at it. But as I say, no one got 10 out of 10. So that was round 2. On to round 3, which was Angelic Little Fellas. Now, this was quite tricky for some, but not necessarily for everyone. So, who is this little fella? Now, some people said Cliff Richard. Now, I would have thought if that was a young Cliff Richard, the picture would have been black and white because he was born in like 1837 or something like that, wasn't he? And some of you said Shane Ritchie. Now, I can see the resemblance to Shane Ritchie. It isn't Shane Ritchie. There was only one team that got this one right, I believe, if I remember rightly. Only one team got it right, and it is Russell Brand. So, Russell Brand, he's a famous comedian, and he's been in quite a few Hollywood blockbuster films as well. So he's pretty famous, although he's now taken a step back and he's now being all spiritual and stuff. And I watched some of his YouTube videos. Quite enlightening at times, actually. He looks much better with a beard, though, I think. Russell Brand. Number 2. A lot of people got this one right. Funnily enough, it's not Judi Dench, which made me laugh, actually, when that came through. Again, Judi Dench is an older. I think she's 80, isn't she? So a picture of her, a school picture of Judi Dench would definitely be black and white, and her hair would have been done better because they would have had higher standards back then for school photographs. It was and is Robbie Williams. I mean, as soon as I put those two things next to each other, you can clearly see it's Robbie Williams. Slightly better hairdo on the right. Nice jacket as well. Quite a nice jacket like that. Nice colour. Now this one. Some people didn't get this one right. A lot of you did, though. Very angelic little lady. Now, this one's in black and white, so it should give you the clue that it's an older lady or someone that's not even with us anymore. And it was Elizabeth Taylor. Looking rather attractive there on the right as well. Both pictures are lovely, actually. How do you see how her face is thinned? Because I don't think they had Photoshop back then, so they can't have thinned her face, in the post photo, whatever. There we go. Number 4. I can't remember what some people said, actually, off the top of my head, but there were some funny answers to this one. But I'm just going to go straight to it. This is Benedict Cumberbatch, not Dominic Cumberbatch. If you said Dominic Cumberbatch, it's close, but it's no cigar, so you only get half a point. It's Benedict Cumberbatch. I like his cardigan. It's a nice cardigan. Now, this one was a bit tricky because it's a girl, clearly, with blondish hair and a little floral dress. Now, you can gather from the picture, from the style of the dress, the kind of era, so that's 70s, you would say. So you can kind of then, it's mid to late 70s perhaps, isn't it? Or maybe early 80s, the style of the dress. It could even be late 60s perhaps. But the colour of the picture, the quality of the picture probably tells you it's not. So then from that you can work out the year that this girl was born, and so therefore the actress who it would be. Because it was an actress. So it wasn't Emma Bunton. Some other people said some other things. I should really write these odd answers down. But it is Kate Winslet. I too struggle to see the similarity between the two pictures, but it is Kate Winslet, I promise you. Perhaps if she'd been holding an Oscar, it might have been easier. Who's this little fella? Now he's, again, it's an old picture, isn't it? It's an older one. And because I know who it is, I look at it and I immediately know who it is and I can immediately see it. But some of you did, some of you didn't. Most of you didn't, actually. And it is John Lennon. There you go. So when you've got the two things to compare, you can see, can't you? It's the nose and the eyes a little bit. And he's much moodier, isn't he, on the right? That picture of him on the right. He looks quite a chirpy little chap on the left. But, yeah, quite sullen. Wonder what he's imagining there on the right. Next, number 7. Is it a boy, is it a girl? Where's her teeth gone? Because it is a girl. And in a photo booth. Again, you can kind of work out the age of this. This is late 80s, isn't it? Late 80s, probably. So it's a youngish person. Youngish, I say youngish. Late 80s, 30-odd. It's Adele. There we go. When the pictures are there together, you can tell it's Adele, can't you? Again, a superstar in terms of singing. So now this one made me laugh so much when I called it up and Kelly had a good old laugh about it as well, because this could very, very easily be either a boy or a girl, couldn't it? Poor little fella. And it is Jeremy Clarkson. So there you can see it very clearly once the two are there side by side. But yeah, Jeremy Clarkson, what a hairdo. Hey, what a hairdo. Number 9. I mean, this is a really cool picture for me, I think, actually. If that was my child, I'd be delighted with that, and I'd have that blown up and put on a wall, because it's moody, it's mean in it, but it's got a certain softness to it as well. Brilliant. I wouldn't have necessarily got this, actually, but a lot of you did. It was David Bowie. So there we go. Not quite so pointy on the left as he's on the right. But yeah, David Bowie. See the chin though, can't you? See the little dimple in the chin. And last in this round, the last one, this cheery little fella, very much like Harry Styles. It's not Harry Styles, but I can see why people would have said Harry Styles. But cheeky chappy is Mick Jagger. It's little Mick Jagger. on the left. Better hairstyle on the right as well, I think. Clearly, his hair was cut by someone who was perhaps a little bit under the weather, under the influence perhaps as well, or has some very blunt scissors, because that fringe is really not level, is it? Not very even at all. So there we go. That was round 3. Let's have a look at the scores here. So round 3. Now, we did have some shockers. We had 4 teams that got 1 out of 10. So you really didn't know your angelic little fellas. On the flip side, we did have 2 teams that got 9 out of 10, which was Fine Pair of Shoulders and him and her. And 1 team, Russian, used that as their joke around, and they didn't do too bad as well. They got 8 out of 10, so they got a double there on 16. And Paul DeBeck and Kelly Boag and Team GKN also got 8. The other teams didn't fare quite so well as that. But yeah, so that wasn't quite such an easy round, that. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Who knows who these people are? It's very difficult. I didn't know them, really. Kelly didn't know them. I think she got 6 out of 10 on that one, though, to be fair to her. Right then, number 4, round number 4, which was our sugar and spice and all things nice round. A lot of you chose this as your joke around as well. So what year did the first McDonald's store open? It was 1940. Now, it wasn't called McDonald's as such. It was called McDonald's BBQ, I think barbecue. But it was McDonald's, and they opened in 1940. Their first store, that was called McDonald's. There we go. So, what is the best-selling flavour of soup in the UK? I think everyone got this. Don't think anyone went for a different answer than tomato. So it was tomato sauce. Tomato soup. What's your favourite soup? What type of pasta has a name meaning little worms? Again, every single one of you got this one right. It's as though you all know your pastas. How come no one went for serpenticini? How come no one went for that? A pasta designed and based on snakes. Vermicelli was the answer. Was this UK or USA? Are you talking about the first question? When was the first McDonald's store? Well, it's just the first ever McDonald's store. It's not the one in England. It was 1940. Is that what you're asking, Imano? I'm not entirely sure what you're after. So what type of pastry are profiteroles made of? Phyllo, choux, puff or short crust? Again, all of you got that one right. It's choux. Nice bit of profiteroles. Bit of cream inside, chocolate on top. Yummy. Don't eat those anymore though. Who is replacing Sandy Toksvig as the host of the Great British Bake Off for the 2020 series? It's been in the press recently, so many of you knew what the answer was. It is not David Walliams, Noel Fielding, David Mitchell. It is Matt Baldyman Lucas. So he's going to be presenting. I'm sure he'll be fabulous. Not that I watch it, but he's great, isn't he? So, which fast food franchise has the largest number of restaurants in the world? Now, this one surprised me because I would have expected the other 3 to have been bigger. But I guess by the very nature of the answer, this is it. And it is Subway. Yes, it was... Well, it didn't matter though, did it? You got it wrong though, to be honest. You got it wrong. You didn't get that answer right, I'm afraid. So it was just the first one. And McDonald's originated in America. So the first one. Perhaps I should have put ever, maybe, to have made it easier, but the answers were on screen. I don't think one opened in the UK in 1941 though, did it? It didn't come to the UK until much later, I think the 60s. I might have to look that up in a second just to clarify my answer. In which country will you find wine-growing region the Yarra Valley? Well, Yarra, it sounds very, very much like it's where it's from, really. It's not a difficult one, this. You can work this out. It's Australia. Even if you don't drink wine, you could work that one out. So, in which... Oh, that's the same question. What is the most consumed manufactured drink in the world? And apparently I've done this before, but that didn't seem to make much of a difference because some of you got it wrong. And it is, in fact, not Coca-Cola, which is what you would think, but it's tea. Tea is the most consumed manufactured drink in the world, which once you know the answer, then you can kind of think that, yeah, I can see why that is the case. Number 9. Shirley, Elsa Craig and Mr. Stripey are all types of what? I'd never heard of these at all. And then they're not cocktails. They're not gins either. They're tomatoes. Never heard of them. I don't think we get them in this country, do we? Well, probably we do. I don't know. And finally, number 10 in this round, a Magnum holds 2 standard bottles of champagne. A Methuselah holds 8. But how many bottles of champagne in a Melchizedek? It's a lot. And the bottles are massive. It's 40 bottles of champagne. But it's only a limited run on certain producers of champagne. Not all the big guys don't do it, I don't think. And if they do, they only do 1, maybe 2 bottles at a particular vintage or whatever. But yeah, 40. Can you imagine that? That's a big old party. You'd have to have some sort of plug in it, wouldn't you, and like a tap to get it out. How could you pour it? Nonsense. It's enormous. Imagine lifting up that many, 40 bottles in one go. You wouldn't be able to do it, would you? It'd be so heavy. It'd be preposterous. Preposterous, I tell thee. So round 4, how did people get on? Well, some people, again, are very smart. Big smarty pants. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 teams get 10 out of 10. And of those 4 teams, 2 of you chose that as your joke around, which were Fine Pair of Shoulders and Team GKN. So you did very well indeed. But we also had some good scores there. 16, 18, 18, 18, 16. Yeah, another 16 down there as well. So some of you did tremendously well. The lowest score we had on that round was a 5. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, another team used that as their bonus, so they got a double. So we had 2 teams with 5, and obviously one of them was doubled up to 10. So yeah, so very well done, you smarty pants out there. So that was round 4. I was going to look up, wasn't I, whether or not when the first McDonald's in England. First McDonald's in the UK was 1974. There we go. Can't use that now, can I, as a quiz question? 1974, November the 13th. That seems... You'd have thought it would have been before that, wouldn't you? I'm sure that's why Wimpy and stuff perhaps were quite big in those days, because they were before that, weren't they? Oh, hello, Jessica Velotta, all of a sudden. Where did you come from? It's the Italian influence, is it, with all of the vermicelli? Yeah, you're teaching everyone pasta rather than dancing. You and I need to have a chat. Now then, the 5th and final round. Town or city, which was a bit of a thing for some of you. Some of you didn't know. And it doesn't necessarily go along with it. It doesn't necessarily help knowing football teams either, because some of them don't have their... Ella, darling, are you all right? Come here. Shouldn't you be in bed?
I just can't sleep.
Well, come and sit with me for 2 minutes, because I'm nearly finished, and then I'll put you to bed again. Come on.
I want to ask you.
All right, you go and ask Mummy something. Anyway, so Middlesbrough, town or city? It is a town, and I've put the population totals there. This is as of 2016. That's the figures that I found. So Middlesbrough is a town with 176,625 people in it. Probably more than that now. Wells. Now, I'd never heard of Wells. And Wells is a city in England, and it is the smallest city in England, with only 10,536 people in it. 2011 details. Again, that's probably slightly more now. Might not necessarily be, because it's only so small. Now, just to clarify, some of you don't know, you need to have a royal decree, I think it's called, or a royal charter, I think, to be deemed a city, or have a cathedral, a historic cathedral, which grants you the city status, and also this royal decree or whatever, royal charter. So Wells is an old cathedral city, and it retained its city status. It lost it, but then it got it back again in 1994, I think. So there we go. Tiny place, but it's a city. Now, Reading. Reading, is it a city or is it a town? It is a town with 255,000 people in it. But Wells, with only 10,000, is a city. Doesn't make sense, does it? There we go. So moving on. Durham. Is Durham a town or a city? Durham is a city with 94,000 people in it. Do all cities have cathedrals? No, they don't. Not all cities have cathedrals, but as I said, it's a royal decree or whatever it's called. I can't remember exactly what the wording was, decree or charter. Some cities don't have a cathedral. Southampton doesn't have a cathedral, actually, but it is a city. It's just a big church. St Mary's, it's classed as a cathedral, but it's not. Next, Hereford. Now, I always thought of Hereford Town. I thought of Hereford Town Football Club, but it's not. It's a city with just under 60,000 people in it as of 2011. Next, Bolton. Now, Bolton's in the north. Bolton was a Premier League football team as well. Quite a good one for a period of time. But they are only a town with 175,000 people, just under 176. But again, I'm sure that figure's high now, but it's still only a town. Chelmsford. I used to have a dance partner from Chelmsford, and I went there on a number of occasions, many occasions, and it's not very big. But it's a city. And it got granted city status quite recently, actually. There were 3 new towns granted city status, and Chelmsford was one of them. Kingston upon Hull, another northern place. The Kingston bit I did just to confuse you. It's normally called Hull. Kingston upon Hull is official title, and it is in fact a city with just short of 300,000 people as of 2016. Telford is a town with 147,000. And finally, Huddersfield up north is another town. Again, another big place, but it's only a town with 169,000 people in it. So there we go. There's your last round. And let's see how you got on with that. So, Fine Pair of Shoulders clearly knows their towns and cities because they got 10 out of 10. We've very rarely had a top marks in the final round of when we do a timed round like that when there's only 10 questions. So very well done to you. It's only happened on, as I say, on a very few occasions. I think a handful, 1 or 2 or 3 times. That's it. So well done you. So we had a 10, we had a 9, 2 9s, 3 9s, a couple of 8s, and the lowest we had was a 3 down there as well. But yeah, well done everyone. So I'm sure you're dying to see the leaderboard, aren't you? You're dying to see how you're getting on. Well, here we go. Here's the leaderboard. So, still up top is Team GKN, and this week didn't win. This week's winners were Fine Pair of Shoulders with 55 out of 60. So that's a tremendous score, considering that you haven't necessarily been anywhere near the top on any of the weeks previously. So you've done really well there. Second place this week went to Im and Her as well. So a couple of teams at the top there that we don't normally see. So they're second. And then in third place was Team GKN. And fourth this week were Car Dancers. And then we had a bit of a tie there for the fourth spot with on 47 Wise Guys, Blenworth Beauties and Agatha Quizty. But yeah, tremendous. And so they've extended their lead at the top there, Team GKN, to a massive... Hello, darling.
Mummy's letting me watch a bit of film until I fall asleep.
All right, I'll be down in a second. I can give you a cuddle too, can't I?
But I'm watching just normal Trolls because that's
Okay.
a bit calm.
Do you want to just say goodnight to everyone?
I mean hello.
Well, say hello, then say goodnight.
Hello, but I'm not saying. But I'm not going to bed yet.
Yeah, but they're going to bed.
Good night.
Crazy child.
I'm gonna watch Baby Poppy
Wonderful.
because it starts off with a baby Poppy,
Does it?
and she's like, "No trolls left behind. Dingy, dingy, ding."
Right, okay.
She has a bell.
Okay, so here's the change of position. So, as you can see, as I was saying, Fine Pair of Shoulders are in first place this week. Im and Her second. Which, yeah, really good job there. Although, actually, Im and Her were first on week 8, weren't they? So they have been up there, the dizzy heights of first place before. But that was tied with Agatha Quizty. I'll put my teeth back in. And then third place, as I said, to Team GKN. Fourth were Car Dancers. And then fifth, Agatha Quizty. And then we had a few Where's 6th place gone? Oh no, 5th down there as well, the Wise Guys. And Blenworth Beauty. So yeah, so we had a few ties there. But yeah, another wonderful week. And the Hungry Hawks there in 8th. And then 9th, Baps and Co. And I won't go any further. Down. But so there we go. That's how things stand. But the overall rank, still with Team GKN, opening up a bit of a lead there over the Wise Guys. And the Wise Guys kind of safe in second, really, significantly in front of Tequila Mockingbird. But then it all gets a bit close there, but all a bit bunched up. So Tequila, I can't speak to them. I'm trying to speak too fast. Just 5 points separating Tequila Mockingbird and Blenworth Beauties. And then only 2 points behind Car Dancers. And just behind that, only 14 points behind our Agatha Quisty. So not insurmountable. It's quite easy to have a quick turnaround like that and jump places. I mean, that happened a couple of weeks ago with Blenworth Beauties. They dropped a significant amount of points and lost 13.5 points to the Car Dancers. But then equally, the following week, they gained 15 points on them. So it is easily done. So if you're lagging behind a little bit, you can catch up pretty quick. So there we go. That is this week's quiz. Well done, everyone. Even those of you at the bottom of the leaderboard, you're still doing tremendously well. Well done, because I know that some of you are sitting there on your own doing these quizzes. So it's tough, isn't it? It's tough. And to be fair, if Kelly was playing this quiz on her own, she would be bottom of the leaderboard as well, pretty much, I suspect. But yeah, so well done, everyone. Thank you very much for taking part and still joining in with us. We'll be here again next week for another quiz, and I'm sure it'll be just as much fun as always. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I really must try and make it a bit harder, because you're all getting a bit too clever, aren't you? Maybe it's all this quizzes. All these quizzes, you see, are activating your brains. And all you've got to do now, just to equalise the brain power with the body power, is to do our workout in the mornings, which will be with me tomorrow at 10:30. So join me at 10:30. And then tomorrow evening, we've got our pre-dinner drinks. Again, I'll come up with some topics of discussion for you, so to make it easier and to make the conversation a bit more fluid. That'd be nice, won't it? Anyway, that's it for me for now. I'm going to go downstairs and sit with my daughter to try and help her go to sleep, because she's struggling to go to sleep, bless her. Because there's too much noise up here, apparently. I'm too loud. Too loud. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing now. And so I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening. Have a lovely day tomorrow. I'll see you in the morning. And then in the late... I keep saying it again tonight. I'll see you in the evening. And yeah, that's it. So stay safe, stay healthy, and stay dizzy feet, everyone. Thank you very much for stopping by. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.